That fight is still the target for both men.
I've said it many times that that's the fight that we want to make this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the year, you said you were super confident. It's definitely going to happen. Are you still super confident?
Still super confident.
Dana White recently teased an upcoming announcement about a potential fight between Tom Aspinall and Jon Jones. In a previous interview, White confirmed the fight would definitely happen, though timing and location were still being finalized. He expressed confidence that the bout would likely take place in the summer. While Aspinall mentioned in a video blog that negotiations were being delayed by Jon Jones' side, White reassured fans that the matchup was still on track and progressing behind the scenes, keeping hopes high for a summer showdown.
The other big one is obviously Jon versus Tom Aspinall. This week was a funny one. Someone reported that the fight's done, it's got a date. Then the next day, someone reported the fight's off, and then Jon's not taking it. Where do we stand with that fight?
Everything you hear is bullshit until we say it.
So that fight is still the target for both men.
I've said it many times that that's the fight that we want to make this year.
Chael Sonnen has now confidently stated that the fight between Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall is already finalized, including the exact date. He expressed certainty about the matchup, explaining that while Jon Jones might publicly claim he needs more time or say different things in interviews, he always accepts the fight once he receives the official offer and opponent's name. According to Sonnen, that's just how Jones operates. Regardless of what he says publicly, when it's time to fight, he always shows up.
I am confident enough to tell you that that fight is done, though. That fight is agreed all the way down to the date. That I do have a confidence to tell you. Jones said he needs 4 months. Now you're going to do it in... I'm telling you, this Jon Jones business, Jones will say a lot of things to the media. When he gets that phone call, here's the guy you're fighting. Do you understand? Yes. And that is what he will say.
Ariel Helwani shared his understanding that if the fight between Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall doesn't happen, it won't be the UFC's fault. Based on his conversations, he explained that the UFC has made every effort in good faith to make the bout a reality. Helwani noted that many factors can prevent a fight from coming together, but in this case, he believes the responsibility won't lie with the UFC or Tom Aspinall. Ultimately, Helwani feels it will be up to Jon Jones to decide whether the fight actually takes place.
If this fight doesn't come to fruition, if for whatever reason it falls apart and we never get to see Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall, the UFC is not to blame. The UFC has, in my opinion, well, excuse me, I'll take that back. The UFC has, based on the conversations that I've had, not in my opinion, but what I'm reading and surmising and what's being told to me is they have made every effort in very good faith to make this fight happen. Now, obviously, when fights don't come to fruition, there's a multitude of reasons as to why fights don't happen. But in my opinion, if this fight doesn't happen, it's not because of the UFC. It's not because of Tom Aspinall as well. I think ultimately who will decide whether or not this fight happens or not is Jon Jones.
Helwani clarified that if Jon Jones truly wants the fight to happen, it could be finalized quickly. He noted that while negotiations over numbers, like the rumored $30 million demand, have played a role, the UFC has made genuine efforts to meet both fighters' demands in a fair way. In Helwani's view, the ball is now in Jon Jones's court. He emphasized that it has always been Jones's decision, and if he wants to fight, the deal could be done today.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the year, you said you were super confident. It's definitely going to happen. Are you still super confident?
Still super confident.
Cool. In your career, do you remember another fight that people are kind of bitching at you about as much as this one?
Yeah, there's been plenty, but I've said since day one, this will be the biggest heavyweight fight in the history of the company and in the history of the sport.
Dana White addressed the rumors surrounding the potential fight between Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall, stating that nothing is reliable until officially announced by the UFC. He confirmed that the fight remains the target for both fighters and is the matchup the UFC aims to make this year. When asked about his confidence in the bout happening, Dana reaffirmed that he is still very confident, emphasizing that he remains super confident the fight will take place.
I think Jon is ducking you.
Yes.
Was that
I do. I think I said, yeah, he is. He definitely is. I think that there's just an easier path for him. And I understand it. I do understand it completely. I understand that there's bigger fights out there for him with way less risk and way more money. I understand it. But in all honesty, do I think he's ducking me? Absolutely.
Ariel Helwani further emphasized that while the UFC has made significant efforts to make the Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall fight happen, it is not yet a done deal. He stressed that if the fight doesn't come together, the blame shouldn't fall on the UFC, as they've done everything possible to push it forward. Helwani pointed out that although the fight isn't officially confirmed, it could be finalized at any moment if Jon Jones agrees. As of earlier that day, the bout wasn't confirmed, but the situation could change quickly. On the other hand, Tom Aspinall expressed his belief that Jon Jones is intentionally avoiding a fight with him. While he acknowledges that Jones may prefer easier, more financially rewarding, and lower-risk matchups, Aspinall still feels Jones is actively ducking him and remains firm in that belief despite understanding Jones's reasoning.
Of Tom Aspinall, I wish people would stop saying that. He is not afraid of that guy. He's not afraid of anyone. He's not afraid to fight this guy. He's not. I think he's trying to be more strategic. I think he's trying to make sure his legacy stands. I don't know how it could ever be faded. I mean, we do have short memories, but could you ever forget what he did? I don't think him fighting Tom Aspinall with the potential that he would lose is a bad thing. But as most would expect him to win the fight. But at the end of the day, the old guard has to get passed through for the new guard to go, unless you don't play the sport by the way that everyone else does it. Everyone else does it that way. Maybe Jones
turn into a very, very interesting fight. However, I think Tom beats him. But the most interesting part of this is that if this is even going to happen, what is going on with Jon Jones? Okay? Because they need to strip the guy. And I don't say that lightly. I do not say that lightly, given the career that he's had and everything he's given to the sport of mixed martial arts. All that he's done and what he's accomplished and achieved over the years, it's insane. And that's why you got Tom Aspinall now coming out starting to talk a little bit of shit. You know, he's calling him out, he's very confident, he's walking around with a duck all the time. He had a little post recently where he was taking a stab at the steroid allegations, saying the only kind of juice that you'll see me having and whatnot. And that's what he's got to do. He's got to try and, tempt Jon to want to shut him up. Because the fight hasn't materialized, of course, a while ago. He was talking about needing 6 months for a training camp. That doesn't change anything. And I'm waffling on and I'm going on. I've made my point. If that fight happens, it will massively affect the legacy of Jon Jones. Of course, it won't take away what he's already achieved in the sport. That's set in stone. But you can't only take on fights that you know you are going to win. That's what Jake Paul does. That's why I don't respect Jake Paul as a fighter. It's not that I'm jealous of his money or anything like that. There's a lot of people out there that have a lot more money than me, okay? And I'm not jealous of them. Jake Paul isn't a real fighter. He manufactures the situation for fights and opponents that he knows he can win. Like this new one with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., okay? Guy's pushing 40. He was beaten by Anderson.
Jon is conning the public, man. And now he's not wanting to fight me for over a year. I respect it, but if you're going to ask me the straight up question, is Jon Jones afraid to fight me? The honest answer would be yes.
I get that Tom is an exciting fighter. I get that finally, after 16 years, we found somebody who's 7 years younger than me and 30 pounds bigger than me. Like, we finally found someone who may give me a great challenge. And everyone wants to see it so bad, but for me, it's like, what is it? What's in it for me? He changes nothing if I beat him. Beating Tom is just like beating Cyril Gane. Has a whole country behind him. He's hot right now. What happens to me after I beat him? Nothing changes for me. So I'm not ducking Tom.
His ruthless competitiveness is he's not going to lose. He's going to find a way to get you, and he's going to do it clever. He's not trying to take a bunch of punishment and to stand and bang. He's not going to point the center of the octagon. Let's go right here. We'll stand right here. Never going to happen with Jon Jones. You're not getting none of that, son. You're getting knees to the gut. You're getting your knees kicked. You're getting just laced up with elbows where you're head's bleeding. He's going to slowly dismantle you and find a way to submit you. Or
wait, hold on. Hold your horses.
Let me ask you
This isn't the real thing. You know, do the same thing that Justin Gaethje did when he beat Tony Ferguson. Took it off, boom. Do you know the statistics of people who become interim champs have never won titles? There's only been like 5 out of 20. You're speaking theory, I'm speaking facts.
What if Jones doesn't fight him? Then what?
Then he can say he's undisputed. They're gonna fight. And especially the fact that people are saying that Jon Jones can't do it, this is that drives Jon Jones.
He wants to prove.
He wants to prove, all right, let me stomp on another generation. That other generation is that Tom Aspinall generation.
Yeah.
And that's a whole lot of money, so don't kid yourself. So the only thing I gotta say to end it, I'm just bringing tough love to a guy like Tom Aspinall. It's not the real shit.
Fight is going to happen. In fact, this fight is going to happen next. You will not see Jon Jones fight and it not be Tom Aspinall. I can give you that as an assurance. I can't do it the other way. I cannot tell you that there's no scenario where Tom Aspinall fights and it would be against anyone but Jon Jones. I can't do that. I'm very close. I can go further. You will see Jon Jones fight Tom Aspinall. All the reports that you've heard that Jon is holding this fight up, they're not true. Jon has gone to the media and he's had his fun. The litmus test is when that phone rings and it's Dana White, what is said in that moment. That's the only way you go into the category of delaying and or ducking. That did not happen. That is a false.
A lot of people are asking, why can't you just fight in the next few months? But explain to fans just why you're waiting. What's the reasoning?
Well, first of all, I want to be undisputed champ because I feel like I deserve a shot at it. That being said, I'm also a professional fighter and I'm not fighting at the moment. That isn't really my fault though. That's more to do with the UFC. They really, really want to make the fight with me and Jon Jones. For me, I'm not bothered if I fight Jon or not really. It'd be a good bonus if I can beat him. I'd beat the best of all time. That people say that he's the person who's the best of all time. But I want to fight, man. But that isn't really up to me.
The UFC don't want you to fight anyone else. And they also, for yourself, understandably, if anyone was in this position of work,